Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. It's here, it's that time of year again, it's time to start our chilies. And I've had a brilliant growing season last year and we've had massive and massive harvests. So I'm going to show you the best way of growing chilies and how I go about growing my chilies from seed and how to get them germinated so you can grow a massive amount of chilies just like me. The first method of chili growing I'm going to show you is how I grow chilies from fresh seeds. Now, these are chilies that I've grown myself, and that's a beautiful yellow habanero. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the seeds from that. So I'm going to harvest the seeds from this one that I've grown myself. Oh, there's some lovely seeds in there. Now, it'd be a good idea to wear gloves for doing this because this is really hot, and you don't want to do what I end up doing, is end up rubbing my eyes. I can smell the capsaicin from as soon as I've cut into that. So there's some of the seeds that I'm going to be growing. So there's two, and these are still very moist. I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to try and just keep touching the outside and not get my fingers on the inside, because one of the things that always happens with me is whenever you harvest, whenever I mess with chilies, I always get this urge to scratch my eyes. So get all these seeds out, and a little bit of the flesh attached to it's not a problem for the way for what we're doing. Wearing gloves is a good idea, but I'm a little bit I find it a little bit difficult to pick at these little tiny seeds with gloves on, so that's why I'm not opting for the gloves. I'm just going for this method of scraping them all out with a knife and a fork. This is so ripe. I mean, I left this one on the plant to the very last minute so I could get them to maturity. You can see how ripe it is, that it's just literally, the seeds are just literally coming off the plant. I'm not having to do much scraping. There's a couple of black seeds here you might have noticed. Now they won't have a great germination rate, so I'm going to leave them be. I'm not going to touch those ones. So that's all the seeds out of there. So there's a good amount of seeds there. A little bit of flesh is not a problem, but the excess flesh, I'm going to just get rid of that so we reduce any fungal issues. I'm not going to wash these. I'm not going to give these any kind of wash or screen, as you might see in some people's videos. What that does is it takes away some of the protective coatings that the chilies naturally have, and it actually reduces the amount of the success in germination. So I'm not going to do that. There's one of those black seeds I was talking about. Let's get rid of that. But they're all the seeds that I'm going to sow. One of the things about chili seeds and chili seed saving is that they're really promiscuous. They really easily cross-pollinate. So if you had 3 or 4 varieties in a greenhouse, it's really likely that one plant would have cross-pollinated with another. So what I like to do is I'll hand-pollinate a few flowers on each plant the day I see it opening, and then I'll bag that plant until the fruit develops. And once the fruit develops, I'll remove the bag and I'll allow the fruit to grow and grow bigger. And that's what I've done with these. So the ones that I've saved for seed, there's a specific reason that I've saved them for seed like this. So this is homemade compost. It's a mix of spent compost, leaf mould and some vermicast. Okay, so when I'm putting my seeds down, I always like to firm the top layer of compost before I start sowing, because that way I can see where I'm dropping the compost exactly, or chili seeds rather. So now I'm just going to take my chili seeds. You don't need to be precise about this. So I'm just going to drop them on, and then now because I've got a smooth surface, now I can spread them out gently. So like last year, I mean, I do grow a lot of chili plants. I mean, I probably grew I grew well over 100 plants for myself this year. So that's why you might think that I'm going heavy on how many I plant. But we also sell quite a few of the chili plants. So there's my seeds nicely spread out, or nicely-ish. And now I'm going to get them covered up with compost. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to add a thin layer of compost to the top. See, that's why when I put the first layer of compost in, I firm it down nice and flat. And then I add a very loose, thin layer of compost. And I make sure I break up all the lumps as I put them on. So any lumpy bits, make sure you break it up. And any rough twigs, this is all sifted off. But if there are any rough twigs that have gone through, I do take them out. Because I don't want a twig to block the germination or cause an obstruction in the plant coming up. So there we go. So that's how I go about sowing fresh seeds straight from the pod. There's no need to soak these, there's no need to do anything with them. You can sow them straight away because they've still got all the juice inside them, they're still plump, they're ready to germinate. But to get those germinated, you're gonna need to put them on heat. You're gonna need a temperature of at least 25 Celsius to get germinated. That's one of the problems that most people have when they try and germinate chili seeds, is they don't germinate because the temperature of the soil is just not up to the required temperature to get them germinated. Some of the milder chilies will germinate a little bit lower temperature, so 18 to 20 degrees, but hotter chilies like this, the habaneros and the Naga types, they're going to need a lot higher temperature, at least 25 C. And that's what I've got back here. So just behind my curtain, if I open my curtain up, move this net back. So just behind this curtain here, I've got a heated propagator, and the propagator's lid's not sitting on properly because I've got so many pots in here. I've got this thermostat set to 27 degrees Celsius, and hopefully in the next week or so I should have some plants germinating from here. I'll move some of these so they all fit in nice and snug into the propagator. But just for now I'm going to just leave that over the top like that. I'm going to leave that on that windowsill to just do its thing and wait for the plants to come up. So that's what I do with fresh seeds, sow them straight out the pod. But what do you do with seeds that are dry, that are a couple of years old maybe, that have been stored for a long time? Some have gone through the seed processing methods, and that's washed a lot of the protection off them. I'm going to show you a little trick that I've been using and a lot of people have had a lot of success with. So you might be wondering why I'm making a cup of tea in the middle of a chili making video. I am a tea fan, but that's not the reason. So okay, I've got my tea ready, but what I did was I took the tea bag out before I put the milk in. I took the tea bag out, and what I'm making is a weak tea solution. So I'm just going to add a bit more water because of the amount of seeds that I'm going to be soaking. It's going to need a little bit more water. And once that's finished brewing, I'm going to leave that for a few minutes to brew, just like you're making a cup of tea, and then this is going to be my tea soak. I'll add a little bit of cold water to get it to cool down a bit faster, but now I just need that to cool down and I can use that as a soak. So here's where my tea comes in. So you've seen me make the tea, and now I'm going to use that to do my tea soak for my seeds. So now I'm going to go all out. I mean, I'm still waiting for a chili seed order to arrive, but while I'm waiting for them, let's get these sown. Now these are a variety called Nigel, and they're an outdoor green variety. They're supposed to be suitable for growing outdoors. I mean, I grew this last year. They did okay outdoors, but the seeds that I grew, or the chili plants that I grew inside, were much better than the ones outdoors. So there's 6 seeds in there. Let's get those, give them a soak. Don't worry about them floating. Okay, don't worry about them floating. I'm going to just leave them somewhere just leave them like that. That's Nigel. Now these seeds that I'm going to sow now were actually sent over by a friend of mine from America. So Michael Bassett, thank you very much for sending these over. I really appreciate it. So you sent them over last year, and I haven't forgotten about you. Here they are. They're about to be sown now. So that's a massive thank you to you. So these are a variety of jalapeno, and as Michael has put on, they're a variety for stuffing. Give them a nice tea dressing as well. See, the Hungarian hot wax, I've got loads of Hungarian hot wax left, but I've already sown a load of Hungarian hot wax from seeds that I've saved myself, and I got those sown yesterday. Here's a sweet pepper. There's a couple of seeds in there. Let's get those soaked as well. These are Lycia sweet pepper. These are a new variety for me. I've not grown these ones before, but let's get these growing and let's get these, see what they're like. Yeah, here's one that I'm really looking forward to actually. These are two types of Carolina Reaper. So we've got Michael sent me a Carolina Reaper peach variety, which should be a really pretty colour. And he's sent me the normal red Carolina Reaper as well. So let's get these sown. I need to find my Trinidad Moruga seeds actually, because we had such success with the Trinidad Moruga ones this year. There we go. There's my peach Carolina Reaper, and there's my red Carolina Reaper. This is an interesting one. I mean, this one just says hot pepper. Yeah, it's a choice mix. I can't remember where it's come from or what packet it's come from, but I've had them for a while and I've not got around to sowing them, but I'm going to give them a sow and see what happens, and I'm always interested in growing something, you know, just for a bit of potluck. Yeah, let's see what these are. These are actually quite old seed, and I have no idea what they are. Let's give them a soak. So you'll see what happens with these really old seeds as well. So far I've got 7, 8, 14 different types of seeds sown. Let's see, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So there's another 5 or 6 varieties there to sow. So there's I've got 20 varieties of chilies already ready to sow. A question you might be wondering is why I use tea to soak it in. Now, teas have been a traditional method of getting seeds to germinate. What my mum always says is if you've got seeds that are dry, that are old, then teas are great to soak them in overnight. Because tea is slightly acidic, it helps break down the outer coating of the seed and just allows it to germinate a little bit easier. Some people objected to the use of tea as a soak because it contains caffeine. And as we know, caffeine is a growth inhibitor, just like nicotine in some plants. The plants produce it to ward off competition and to ward off pests. But because we're using it in such a low concentration, it's not really going to have an effect. The response I had back from people last year when I put the video out on soaking seeds in tea, especially chili seeds, the feedback from that was absolutely amazing. I mean, so many people came back and commented and told me that they'd had such great success, especially at the fact that they'd never been able to grow chili seeds before they'd never been able to grow chili plants from seed before. And now, because of this method, they've been able to do it. And loads of people are still doing it because of that video. So give it a try, see what happens, because I've had great success with it. Lots of people have had great success with it. So don't listen to the naysayers. It's one worth trying, and we've had a good amount of feedback enough from people to say yes, it does work. Also, if anyone's interested, we're producing our pickles as well. So we've got 3 varieties: the Naga, extremely hot, very, very hot; Chilli, which is more my sort of level. It's made from green chilies. It's not that hot, but it's got a little bit of a kick to it. And garlic, which is suitable for everyone. It's not very hot at all. It's a little bit spicy, but not really hot at all. If you do fancy any of these, drop me an email. My email's in my about section, and I'll leave it in the bottom of this video as well. Drop me an email and I'll get you some sent out to you. So I'm going to leave it there for this one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.